Jewel Effect. So, are you ready?
Nah,
All right, you gotta get ready. You gotta get ready.
I'm always ready. Let's go.
I'm ready too. This is gonna be an amazing episode of the Jewel Effect because I'm here with someone that I met about 2 summers ago in person, and I remember this is like my first memory of you. Like walked in, I think you came alone. You were just like calm, humble, quiet, chill, and then you got on the stage and you rocked the stage, which was crazy. But it was at Summer Jam for New Jersey #1 hip hop. So shout out to them, because who knows how long it would have taken for me to meet you if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, they really put on.
Yeah, so I am here with a really, really dope, cool, creative, awesome Jersey native. You're from Jersey, right? And yeah, I'm just so excited. So I'd like to say welcome, Samaj Savage.
Hey, clap and track. Thank you for having me.
I should do that, right?
Maybe.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So thank you for coming here. Right now we're at the main room in Orange, New Jersey. So shout out to Fresh in the main room.
Yes, fun fact, this is where my grandmother who moved from North Carolina, this is where her family was at. This is what they call their stumping grounds.
What?
Yeah,
Really?
So some history here.
Yeah, so tell us where you're from.
So I'm from Montclair, born and raised. I just moved around Essex a lot.
Essex?
To the
Okay.
point where like Newark is my second home and East Orange is my third.
Okay.
But yeah, I grew up in this beautiful, lovely, sometimes racist town.
Montclair?
Mhm.
Yeah, I know a couple people from there. Yeah. Montclair's cool.
Yeah, it's super chill, super chill.
So how would you say Montclair kind of shaped you and your creativity and your music style?
I would say that it didn't.
I love it.
I mean, like the only
Okay.
thing that I feel like I got out of being born and raised in Montclair, all of my family lived in Newark and East Orange, right? So when I came over, there was this mentality of them thinking that I'd be on like my high horse or I always had better things in them. And I think what they always felt to understood was like, yeah, I live in like a rich town, but I'm like the poorest in this rich town. So like there wasn't really any like sleepovers or doing things with my friends. Like when I got my first bike, it was a hand-me-down, and like not to complain. Life is still absolutely good, and I'm glad to live in such a safe area. But there's things that come with it that made me. I feel like it gave me a real accurate depiction of what America is. You know, I get to see in real time the upper class live life on all these mansions and all these great things, but then
Right.
still have to experience it from kind of an outside perspective.
That's really cool that you said that, right? Because it's not a lot of people. I mean, yeah, sure, a lot of people get to experience that, but you got to really experience it really early.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I got to see that until like I went to college. So
Yeah.
yeah, because I lived in Newark, lived in the hood, so everybody was kind of like on the same level. If anything, I at first was at a 2-parent home. So it was like we might have had a little bit more
Yeah.
than certain people. But then when my parents separated and we moved to South Jersey, then we kind of was like, all right, won't got as much as we had before because we was like hood rich a little
Yeah.
bit in Newark. But then we was kind of poor in Willingboro, but it didn't really show. But then we was around all these black people because I lived in a black suburb, Willingboro. But then when I got to college, it was like a culture shock, you know? So it's interesting. You really got to see it like from
It
the,
was,
yeah.
and it's funny because it wasn't like, it couldn't have been a culture shock because I always see it, but it was more like I didn't know the causes of everything that was happening. Like, I had my, want to be tough, want to be a man phase around like 4th grade. So I started rocking do-rags and Timberlands and big jerseys and big white tees. That was what was in, and that's what all my cousins and siblings was wearing, who also didn't live in Montclair. So I'm like, oh, this is me. This is my culture. And to have that like invalidated by the other students, and they just think that I'm just being weird because I'm different from them, and like they're too young to understand what racism or prejudice is.
Prejudice,
But inadvertently, that's what was happening, and me not being able to understand that definitely had some effects on me. But then once I understood what it was, it just made me feel like, oh, so this is just what I gotta talk about and, you know, put the people onto, because I'm not the only black kid having this experience, you know. Not every single black kid can be marketed to the same way.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. So something came to mind when you were just saying that. Do you feel as though experiencing that young, even while you're like, oh, I'm gonna wear my do-rags and I'm gonna wear my Timbs around these people who don't understand it, they can't, you know, do you feel like that kind of shaped you into who you are as an adult? Because people can say, in no way I think you're dope, right? But people could look at you and be like, okay, he's not the normal artist in hip hop. You know what I mean? So did it make you more comfortable as an adult to just be who you are?
No, most definitely, because like I always had this attitude where I would like to make friends and I would try to make friends, but the second that I see that, like, oh, I showed you a little bit of me and who I am and you like misuse that, I kind of have like an FM attitude after that. So it's like it wasn't good for me socially in trying to, like, you know, keep my grades together and like focus in class or whatnot, because I always felt like it was me against the world after that. But I think as a rapper and as a grown man, I'm happy that I had that attitude, and I didn't end up like some of my other black friends that I saw trying to, you know, please these people of other races, and trying to, like, you know, oh, don't act up in front of the white people, and, you know, like that kind of mentality. A lot of the people who were like, you know, coming at Will Smith for slapping Chris Rock, and it's not that he slapped him, but it's that he slapped him at the Oscars.
That's,
you know?
That was the argument, right?
Yeah.
Because say if we was just amongst ourselves.
If he was at BET, it would have been no problem.
Like, you shouldn't talk about his wife, you know? But but it's like, you did that in front of all those white people. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But all right, so Samaj Savage, you are one of the most interesting artists that I've had the pleasure of following. And for the Jewel Effect, like, we could have did a million episodes, and I've said this before, but I'm very, like, specific about who I want to sit down with, right? It's all about sitting down with, like, really innovative people, really interesting people who have had, like, a really cool journey, people who are talented, number one. Like, it's not about the hype, because it's a lot of people who just are not, like, super talented, which is fine, but that's not you. So I want to go we've been talking about the beginning, but I want to go to the beginning of, like, where music started for you, like where you started to become inspired and started to make music.
I always like to talk from my mother's perspective on this, because I was too young to really remember anything.
Okay.
But there's two different moments that she told me about. One was when we were listening to Tupac in the car, and my mom had, like, the actual CD uncut. They never really hid anything from me. And
That's good.
we listened, the same song came on the radio, and I recognized at 2 years old that there was words missing. I didn't know it was the curses or what exactly was missing, but I was like, at 2-year-old, noticing, like, this version sounds different from the other version. So I guess I always paid attention closely to those kind of things. And my mom also said when I was about, like, 3, I went to my godmother's house when her brother just had a baby, and walked up to the baby and was like, "Where my dogs at?" So I definitely always had like a influence of the culture on me.
Isn't that funny? Sorry.
Yeah, imagine a 3-year-old saying that, like, trying to put on like a tough guy voice. So there was
funny.
that. My uncle always played, like, the illest of rappers growing up. You know, like a lot of Jadakiss, Fab, Jay-Z, you know, just real stuff. My grandfather only listens to country music and Eminem and DMX.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Only country, but with the exception
Of Eminem and DMX.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's so strange. I love him. The other day I said, like, yo, yeah, me and my wife are starting over on Family Guy and just watching it from beginning to end. And he was like, Family Guy? Isn't that like, he said, you watching cartoons? You're a grown man. I'm like,
You don't know. You just don't understand. Family Guy is not for kids, okay?
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's definitely for adults.
Although I was watching it as a kid.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was watching a lot of things that I shouldn't
It's
have been
not
watching.
for kids these days. They're too influenceable. Influenceable? Is that a word?
Possibly. Maybe. What is the word? Now I messed
Not
up.
influential.
Not
To,
influential. That would be the person who
yeah.
is doing the influencing.
think influenceable just gonna have to do it.
You just made up a new word. I'm about to put that somewhere. But like influenceable. They're like, and everyone else is gonna be like,
and
is
watch
that
it
a
be
word?
a word this entire time.
It might be. It's a lot of words.
It is? Oh, nice.
Yes, Samad. I know
Yes.
that's right.
We didn't mess up in front of the white people.
We're doing good. We're doing good. That's hilarious. All right, so you are not only like a super cool artist, but from what I've witnessed, you make it clear that you are grounded in faith as well.
Oh, for sure.
So let's talk a little bit about that. How does it play a part into not only your life, like as an individual, but also, you know, in your music?
I mean, I'm trying to think, like, where do I start on this? I was born Muslim because of my parents, but then by the time I was, like, old enough to think for myself, around, like, 11, I didn't necessarily leave the religion, but I just started studying many other religions because I was like, well, how do I know this is for me? And it's just not me listening to somebody.
And you were like that at 11?
Yes, I was, like, rebellious, but, like, not in, like, a bad way, I guess.
Yeah. Would you call that rebellious, though? What if you were just curious or...
I mean, it could have been because, like, well, I ended up coming back to Islam, but I could have ended up being a Satanist or something like that just because I didn't want to be like my parents. You know,
I see.
I always felt that way. Like, I was a Steelers fan because my father was a Steelers fan, and then there was an age where I was like, nah, let me look and then see other things out there, and then ended up being a Steelers fan because at that time they were winning again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so religiously though, I looked into mad different things, and then Islam made the most sense to me. So I practiced that, and I mean, I talk about God in my music because God is like in my life. Like, I can't really not think about him, but I never really like make Muslim gospel music or like really make that the main focus of my music because like not everybody's ready for that. Everybody's walking through everybody has different walks of life, especially when it comes to faith. So I just always like let it be in the background of like, hey, yeah, I just happen to be Muslim too, you know. So I experience things, and well, I'll put it this way: the most important moment in my career was one night where I was DMing somebody, a fan of mine, and he told me that my music helped him believe in God again. And that was the first time that I ever had an anxiety attack that was like from pure joy.
Okay.
And like I was like crying and whatnot. I was alone, thank God, because like I was crying like a baby. Like it wasn't like a thug tear.
Yeah.
So like that happened, and I was just realized like I haven't even made a song that's been like, yo, become Muslim and like, but still my music helps somebody get to that message. So that's just, you know, it's not at the forefront, but it's there.
Right. And it's in you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're a light for
I mean,
other
I'm trying to
people.
be. You know what's crazy? That's
What?
literally what I pray for.
To be
I
a light?
always, yeah, I always pray to like be some kind of light or some kind of inspiration to people to, you know, head into that direction of life. No matter what religion it is, you know, I just hope people are able to find peace and happiness with themselves.
Yeah.
I think the easiest way is through God, but everybody has a different walk.
Right. From the music that I've heard from you, you don't hear like, oh, God this, God that, or Allah.
I mean,
just
most
hear-
importantly, I don't want to judge people for not being in that lifestyle.
Right.
I understand that sometimes people hear certain things and they get triggered because they come from a household that was so like gung-ho about those things, and it was like, oh, I don't even want to think about religion. They're repulsed by the idea of it.
That's
And
so many people.
yeah, yeah. So like, I don't want to trigger those kind of people and let them know like, when you're listening to my music, it's a safe space. I'm not here to judge you.
Yeah.
I even said in the song Bloom, which is a mental health song, but I said, now when's the last time you tried to talk to God for faith? Not judging if you didn't. That's no place of mine to say. So it's like, you know, we could talk about it when you're ready.
Right. Yeah, you're not there to like shove it down people's throat or be like, oh, I'm here because this is what I believe and this is how I
Yeah.
live my life and I don't know what you're doing type of thing. Those are the best kinds of people. You just let your light shine through just you because God is in you.
Yeah.
You know? That's
Exactly.
who you are. So that's really cool. But definitely, like even what I was saying, as far as like listening to your music, you don't hear it, but you know when someone's a good person. You know when they have God in them.
Mm.
You know when you know what I mean?
I mean, I appreciate your intuition.
Right, yeah. It's definitely that discernment because it's some people and you come around them and it's like the energy just isn't, it's not right or,
Yeah.
you know, you might feel it. You just feel
I'm
it,
a
you
big
know?
person on energy because, like, there's
Me
some
too.
people who swear they totally follow God and all of that, but the way that they move and how they carry themselves and how they treat other people is like, you can say that all you want, but you're not really living in it. So, like, I think that's the most important thing. Like, actions is always going to surpass words. I can tell people to worship God all the time, but if I'm, like, out here scamming people and robbing people and stuff, it's like, what's the point?
Exactly. And I've met some of the like meanest people in church.
Mm.
Conniving people, you know. I grew up Christian and
I
I'm
tell
still
you,
Christian.
it's the same
so-
throughout the entire,
Right,
like,
any
yeah,
people
no
are
matter
people.
the religion.
Yeah, but I've met, you know, people or you've seen them do things or act ways that you would never expect, right, in the house of God.
Yeah.
And it's a little off-putting. And it for some people, it can, you know, push you away, you
Yeah.
know,
I feel like-
if you allow it to.
I feel like people's idea of religion is so misconstrued. Like, I have a friend of mine who told me he was thinking about becoming Muslim, but he said he related to that J. Cole verse on his recent album where he had said, he said something about opening the Quran and seeing all of the wisdom but feeling like unprepared for that or like not disciplined enough or something like that. And my friend was like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And I'm like, I see the problem then. You're trying to get into a religion perfect, but the religion is supposed to help perfect you. So, like, for all of those people that are conniving or bad people in churches, mosques, synagogues, like, a lot of them don't have their stuff together and they're trying their best. Some people are just sick and evil.
Yeah.
But one thing I realize is everybody is just trying their best to mosey along and figure out this thing we call life.
That's right. Just with anything. Like if you're first getting into something, you're not automatically going to be good or great at it, you know? And you can't let it steer you away. So, yeah, I know that we just was talking about your anxiety attack and it was like a good one, right? And then you mentioned mental health.
Yeah.
So, how important is mental health for you?
I think it's very prevalent. I'm just so happy that we're in a time where we're able to finally speak about that without it being cliche. But at the same time, I think the popularization of it has made it sometimes, what's the word that I'm looking for? Very milquetoast.
Okay.
Like very fake. Some people just be like, oh yeah, this song is for people who have mental health problems. And it's just like, you're just saying that to up the streams. And I feel like there's a lot of people who don't really like genuinely care.
Just throwing it around.
Yeah. But for everybody who does really care and does really experience these things and is trying to reach out to people and remind them and let them know that they're not alone in what they're going through, you know, kudos to you, because I feel like that's what music is about. That's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to not necessarily be saving lives, but we're supposed to be a reflection of society in a way that makes people feel comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah. Are you in therapy?
Yes. I wasn't for a long time.
So when did you start? If you
So-
don't mind me asking, because I know therapy is really, you know,
This is actually
comfortable.
a great thing for us to talk about.
Let's do it.
Because I tried for like, it was like a good like 3 years. I would say consistently tried for about 1.5 years to get a therapist. And it was the worst experience ever. Because the first time it was through, I don't know if I should say their name, they don't want to sponsor something one day.
Boo, no.
Yeah.
Them people, whoever they are. Tell me
But,
later.
yeah, it was through a company that has crazy marketing budget and always talks about therapy like everywhere you go. So I was like, you know what, let me try this. Yep. So I tried it, and it's like they listened to nothing that I filled out in the questionnaire. I definitely had asked for a black woman, and they asked of what faith, and I was like, oh, Islam, because then she will understand what I'm going through. Not trying to
Exactly.
discriminate, but I would like somebody who's like me in many different ways, and I prefer feminine energy, so I don't have to feel like I got to prove anything.
Right.
So I put that in, and a white woman came up.
No.
But like not just like any kind of white woman, because some white women do understand and do the research and whatnot. But I felt like there might have been like some like there was some real like right vibes going on.
Okay. Yeah.
So I told her like, hey, like no disrespect, I just filled this out, and she was totally understanding about that. So then I went on to a black woman who just, it seemed like she didn't care at all. Like that she was just doing this for a
Really?
check, because the first session I just like trauma dumped everything, just like let her know everything about me. She was like, oh okay. And then the second session I was like, yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good. Nothing's like going on. And instead of like reflecting on any of that or trying to pull something out of me, she was just like, oh, okay, well, we can do a session next week. And then it happened again. And I was like, oh, yeah,
Nah.
I'm good.
No, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
That definitely doesn't work. Yeah.
So, and at that point I was paying. So then it was really difficult to find a therapist, because since 2020, everybody's been getting into therapy. They're not really out here like that. So I finally found one. And then I expressed heavily that I had abandonment issues because of my childhood with my father. And the way that she decided to stop our sessions was having somebody else call me and be like, yeah, no, she moved to a different insurance, so she's not going to be seeing you anymore. So this woman that like I spent, I think, like 3 months telling her everything about me, things are starting to get better, it's like that just was just like snatched away from me.
Right.
So then I was just like, I don't really want to do that again. But my wife convinced me to do it. So
Good.
this time it is a white woman,
Okay.
and I think she's my age, or no, a year younger than me. And she has been the most helpful therapist that I could ever like imagine. So I think the story, the lesson to the story is, you know, white people are pretty cool sometimes. No, I'm
Yeah. Shout out to your therapist.
yeah, no, she's absolutely amazing.
That's
And
good.
I'd be wondering like if she's figured out who I am yet, like as an artist.
Yeah.
So if you see this, hi. If you don't, it's cool.
Do you talk about your work in
Yeah,
therapy? Okay.
yeah.
I think that, like, therapists, they're human and they're curious as well. And I feel like if they have to do research on other things like anybody else does, why wouldn't they be like, oh, let me look up my
Yeah. Yep.
my client
Yep.
on social media? She probably like, oh snap, he's cool. He is
Yeah.
so cool.
No, she's awesome. She's just, I'm really there specifically for mental health. I was looking for like a friend and a therapist before.
Oh, yeah.
But like I realized she don't know nothing about the culture. And it's kind of fun though to like try to introduce her to those things.
Yeah.
Like I told her about the situation where Naughty by Nature was performing at the Walmart Theater.
Yeah.
And I came in like what's the name, KG and Vin know me, so they treated me like royalty, and all of their team treated me like royalty. They was on the stage shouting me out multiple times, put me up on stage at the end of the show, and I
That's
was just
so
there
lit.
to just chill.
Yeah.
And she's just like, I'm sorry, who's Naughty by Nature?
No, it's okay. It's all right though, because
And
you
I'm like,
never.
hip hop hooray, oh. And she was like, I never
Yeah.
heard that song, and I'm like,
But you honestly, say if you did have someone who was like,
Yeah.
how would that affect your sessions? How would that interfere with
Yeah,
it? You know what I mean? They
yeah.
might, I don't know, you
don't
know.
know.
So maybe it's.
I was looking
you
for
know,
more excitement in her eyes about it,
Yeah.
I guess. But
because that's crazy.
it was
That's so
humbling,
cool.
though.
Yeah.
It made me remember, like, this thing that means so much to me,
Mm-hmm.
not everybody's going to be able to understand that. And I can't expect everybody to understand that. Like,
Right.
every session is a lesson with her. I appreciate her.
Yeah. Yeah. Therapists, they're definitely hard to come by. Like, not saying that there aren't tons of great therapists out there, but you have to find the ones that are good for you.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. So I started therapy in 2021. And I really loved my therapist, but I looked at her as like kind of like a homegirl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's Black woman, super cool, a mom, Christian. But then I found us just like kind of like talking.
Oh, yeah,
And I
yeah.
wasn't healing as much, even though I really liked her and I really looked forward to our sessions. But it was a certain point where I was like, all right, I can't afford this right now,
Yeah.
so we're gonna have to come back. And then when I could afford it and it was
Yeah.
back in my budget, I was, you know, like, hey, and she was like, I don't have any openings right now. I was like, okay, completely understandable. You gotta
Yeah.
get your money, get your
Yeah.
coins, you know, life, you know, moves on. And then I started searching for other ones, and I ended up finding someone that I was matched with, and it was virtual, of course, because that's how
It's always
everything's
better in
been.
person, though. I hated virtual.
I've never experienced anything outside of virtual, so I don't even know.
Oh.
My first therapist, we met one time, and we went for like a walk, in the park for like, you know, our session. It was
She really trusts
cool.
you. That definitely sounds like a serial killer kind of like vibe.
Yeah, like, hey,
let's
you
go for a walk in the
wanna
park."
meet up?
Yeah.
You know, I really like you. It wasn't like that. I think she got the vibe, and I used to
Yeah.
be sending her like stuff like, look at this, and this is who, and I'd be showing her my. So maybe she probably felt okay. But my second therapist, my current therapist, I think she's located in like Texas, so she's like a different time zone than I am. So like sometimes
Did she like originally live in Texas?
since I've been with her,
How long you been with her? It sounds like a wild question, but
since February, this one.
okay,
Since
it's
February.
just insane because my wife's therapist, who is awesome,
Yeah.
also black,
Oh,
and she just moved to Texas like earlier this year.
what if it is the same one?
That
I
would
don't
be
know.
crazy.
We could
We'll
talk
never know
after
'cause
this.
we can't.
Oh yeah. Well, that's true too. Yeah. So my therapist, I just started having sessions with her in February, and it was through this like mental health liberation for like black people website. Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you. We could talk more about it, and if you need to share it with other people, but it's like a cycle that they do where they match you with therapists and you don't even have to pay for it. Like dependent. Exactly.
Yo, that sounds just like an idea I had. I'll tell you later.
Okay, cool. So I was connected with her, right? Our first session, I'm just bawling. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I'm not even like a crier like that, you know? Bawling. And it's the way she asks questions and then she challenges me. She like kind of riles me up, but it's because of what's inside of me. It's because of
Trying to
my
let it out.
traumas. Yeah, she pulls it out. She doesn't even, because it's not like she's even like, come on, Jalen, come on.
Yeah.
It's like, but why? So you're saying this, but I'm trying to see, and she really like triggers me a
Yeah.
lot, but in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, like I even found myself like, because that's
Yeah.
why, you know, and I don't even act like that to strangers, but she really,
She pulled the emotion out of you.
she
That's
really
beautiful.
does, yeah. And our focus was just for like the next 6 months, strictly just relationship stuff, right? I've talked about like other things and career and this but I just even with like, I know you mentioned your dad, right? How much like relationships with your parents can affect all other relationships in your life. Like she be saying stuff to me like, "Oh, so you don't trust people?" It's like, yes, I do, but to a certain extent,
But she'll make you
may
ask
be-
yourself. Yeah.
she definitely makes me. But
I definitely understand that. Like that's the whole reason why I started therapy. Because I was my wife and I did premarital counseling, and the therapist. And I always told people to go do therapy, but I didn't really like try myself.
yeah,
So the therapist made us fill out this thing, and she said something about me. Oh, because my mom had to work so hard, I was always left like taking care of my baby brother, and I also at the time was taking care of somebody, and I also my wife at the time and still sometimes gets sick often, so I'm always taking care of her. And the therapist goes like, "Oh, so you've just been taking care of people your whole life?" And I'm like, "No, wait, yeah." And like I felt so uncomfortable because I'm like, "Wait, you know more about me than I know about myself in any way?"
do you see that? Do you see how they ask you a question and be like, hold up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was also triggering when my therapist. I'm not gonna like disclose exactly what was going on,
Okay.
but my current therapist was asking questions in the beginning, and then once again said something about myself that I didn't know, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then like for like the next like 2 weeks, I was just like still obsessed over that thing, like how do I fix that about myself, and I realized like it's something that I gotta work on, like slowly.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have my little note in my phone after our sessions. Like, all right, what's my homework? And like it was one thing, right? I was like dating a guy, right? And
What?
I was like, right? I was dating a, and she was like, and I was like, he's not it, you know. And it wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't anything serious, but it wasn't anything.
But what if he was? No, that's toxic. I'm
See, look
yeah,
at you.
No, I'm joking. My bad.
But I had to, she was like, you need to figure out what is this? And I described him a certain way, and it was a word. I was like, he's not masculine, right? She was like, well, what does that mean? What is the, and it's like, masculine is masculine, you know?
Yeah.
And pretty much she was like, think about somebody on TV that reminds you of him, or he reminds you of that particular character on a TV show or something. So for 2 weeks, I'm like, who does he remind me of? And then I found the person, and it was pretty accurate. And I came back to her. First thing I said to her, I was like, hey, how are you? I was like, I found the person. And then she was like, okay, who? And I told her the person, the character. She was like, oh, I see. I see what you mean. But yeah, therapy is really important.
Yeah, no, that's actually hilarious. I'm just trying to like think like, damn, sucks to be that guy. Yeah.
No, he's cool. He's awesome. You know how you just know somebody isn't it for you?
Is that something you want to talk about too, like masculinity?
Let's talk about it.
I just feel like that's a prevalent topic, like especially with, I mean, I still don't know everything about Jonathan Major's case, but I don't know right before that whole thing happened. Oh, you
saw that,
Like, he did that photo shoot on the magazine.
The pink, and the flowers, and
oh man, the internet was chewing him up, so people were like.
So what you think about it?
And honestly, especially because I just had a son, I've been thinking about this prevalently.
Oh.
I feel like every man has a right to define what he believes to be masculine.
Right.
In his own way. But at the same time, not every woman has to like that or has to agree with that. And if a woman doesn't agree with your form of masculinity, then she's not the one for you. Men shouldn't have to be bending themselves to fit the descriptions for the woman, and women shouldn't have to settle for whatever, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree, because my idea of masculinity could be totally different than another girl's. You know, right? So like some girls, they be like, oh, this guy, he pays for everything, he takes out the trash, he does this, he does that, all those like, what would you call those norms?
Stereotypes?
Yep, stereotypes, societal norms that, you know, we always see. But I feel like if a guy does all those things, but then he still like gossips and things like that, I don't think that's masculine.
See, I think that's so unfair to women that's pinned on women. Because, look, I got a lot of friends as ladies and a lot of friends as dudes.
Right.
Dudes are way more gossipier.
They are.
I don't think it's like
are.
a today thing. A lot of people, oh, no, that's just today. Like, nah, the older men that I've seen growing up were the quickest to, like, you know, backbite or be super catty, be, like, super friendly. Somebody says the second they leave, like, I don't fuck with that nigga. Like, I see it so much.
Yeah, it's certain things. I don't know. That could be like a whole episode of like talking
Atlanta?
About it. Yeah, because of what?
I said of Atlanta.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched it.
I was like, wait, what'd you say? No, that's a good. I've seen like a few episodes of that. That's a good show. Now I'm gonna go and watch that because I gotta watch it. But yeah, that could be definitely a whole episode of talking about masculinity and toxic masculinity, and because that's a thing too. Just because you're like, "Grr," and so tough and angry all the time, like I feel like those type of emotions and those tantrums are more on the feminine side. You know, I feel like but it's all based on you and your perspective
it's
on life. So.
Very subjective.
Yeah. So you talked about. Well, we didn't really get into it, but we talked about abandonment with your dad. Yeah. And of course, I don't know your relationship with your dad or where it stands now.
We are tight as this now. Like,
what?
Yeah, everything is great, and I always get super grateful and emotional about it because I never would have thought that things would have gotten to where they are now. One thing I can say about my father is, although he didn't do the best, he'd always tried to do the best he could.
Okay.
You know, he always gave it his best effort, and for any time that he fell short, he has apologized for it now, and that's more than what a lot of kids can get from their parents these days. So I just learned to forgive him on all of that, and to really take the opportunity to learn about him and who he is. And the more that I learn about him, the more that I learn who he is, the more I understand certain things. Like, I'm not gonna put like all of our business out there, but like I didn't know that his childhood was so much worse than mine, and that the way that his father treated him was so much worse than he could have ever treated me. So, like, knowing that, and knowing that I at least had a better childhood or a better relationship with my father than he had with his father, it's like, well, there's only but so much, you know, and as long as everything is fine today, and I take that next step up with my child, that's all that matters.
Yeah. That's good to look at it that way. Sometimes it's hard to like forgive, especially when it's like,
it's super difficult.
I was a good kid. Like I'm a good person. Like, even okay, so, and we won't dwell on this because this ain't, but sometimes when you don't have a good relationship with a parent or a dad, it could be like, why wasn't I enough? I'm this. I'm
Yeah.
a straight A student.
This
I
is
do
gonna be
this. I do
deep,
that.
but like the first time that I ever tried to commit suicide, no, the first time and only time, thank God. But it was because I felt like my parents would be much better without me. Like seeing them argue and all of that, like I was just feeling like, oh, I'm the reason. I put all of that on myself. And there's so many kids who go through that same thing, and that's the reason why I feel like me living here today, that's what's important.
It is. That's a big burden.
Yeah.
That's a heavy, heavy burden. Yeah. And there's a lot of kids that feel like that, even though they're like awesome and they're so loved and they're so needed, is like they can feel like that.
Do you want a hug?
Yeah, let's hug.
Okay. I see the
No, this is the stuff because I can relate. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah, but it gets real deep. And those experiences, even though our parents they did the best that they could with what they worked with and how they grew up, what they knew, it's like it molded us into who we are.
Yeah.
But, Samad, it's like, now that we're parents, right? You're a dad.
Hey, your mom.
Yeah, I've been a mom. I'm not new to this. So, yeah, but it's like, with the, Erykah Badu, she had an interview and she pretty much was saying that we are like the improved design of our parents, and
Yes.
our children are gonna be the improved design of us, and then their children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like taken from what you've experienced and what you've learned, is like you're gonna be an amazing dad.
I better be.
Yeah.
I'm so hard on myself about it. Like, and I ain't messed up in any way. I'm gonna say yet because everybody messes up in their own way. But I'm so hard on myself about that. Like, I never wanna. I want to be the best possible dad that I can be. And like, although me and my father are cool now, he has so much to do with that it's just kind of like, it's just kind of funny. I mean, of course my mom does too, because my mom could have been the kind of woman that would make it really hard for me to love or trust a woman, which would inadvertently make me somebody who gets the wrong woman pregnant that I can't trust. And then I see that kid as a reflection of that, and like, nah, my mom led me in the right direction.
It's good.
Yeah.
That's right. Shout out to the moms.
Yes.
Let's go. And the dads. But,
The good ones.
how's family life been since you have a new addition? I know you have a beautiful wife.
It's
You
been
know?
crazy, like in a good way. Like, we talk so much mental health. I'm not about the cat. I was happy for like a month straight when he first got here.
Yeah.
And then like about a week ago, I broke down because like I thought that happiness was gonna last forever, and I just had a bad day, and I was just like, come on, like that part of my life can't be over yet. So I'm still working through it. I'm still human. I'm here as a testament to tell you guys, like, hey, even when you become parents, it helps with the happiness. Seeing that child is always going to bring you joy, but it doesn't fix everything. So continue to go to therapy and, take the steps every day. Continue to take care of yourself and make sure that you're taking care of yourself, because once a child gets here, it's so difficult too.
That's a fact. That is a fact. Yeah. You definitely got to work on yourself. Children, they bring like more purpose to your life, right?
Yeah.
Helps you stay on a schedule, helps you make better decisions, but still you're human and you're you. So it's like, all right, let's like pull it in, reel it
Yeah.
in.
I just keep trying not to do anything I wouldn't want him to do. But it's crazy, I've been wanting a kid since I was like 13.
What?
Not wanting a kid at 13,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been like imagining this.
You've
part of my
always
life.
wanted to be a father.
Yeah. So I guess since around that age, I've been thinking like I gotta live my life in a way that my son or daughter would be proud of.
Right.
So even like somebody asked me about that with my music. They're like, "Oh, since you have a kid, is your music gonna take a different direction? Are you gonna curse less?" And I'm like, I don't think I've made a song yet that I would not want my kid to hear.
Facts.
So yeah.
Yeah. You've already been like a good example. Like you've been preparing. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it is. And I'm sure you'll be open with your son or future kids
I
to
grew up on
come.
Grand Theft Auto and Family Guy and Eminem, so
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna give him that childhood necessarily, but I always want to keep that realness with him because I think that's what saved my life. Whenever I was exposed to something that I was too young to be exposed to,
Right.
the way that my mom explained things always helped me. She would like see me killing people in Grand Theft Auto. She's like, as long as you know that's not real life and you're not supposed to do that in real life, and this is just supposed to be fun in games, in the fun game. I mean, in the fun game. So, yeah, I think parenting is very important, and stop telling us rappers to change our lives when you should be parenting your kids.
Facts. Just talk, communicate. I'm open with my daughter. I'll be like, hey, I'm about to do therapy. So you need anything? You good? All right. But I
That's
be,
beautiful.
I be like, it's hard. Certain things, of course, you're not going to like share with your child because they're children,
Yeah.
right? You don't want them to carry certain burdens for no reason, but
You know, I only have a month and a half old, but like,
yeah.
I literally keep thinking to myself, like, when am I gonna tell him about this and that? Because like, certain things that I found out about my father, my grandmother, even my own mom, I felt like I found out too late because if a younger me who was going through something similar knew that they went through the same thing, it would have been so much easier for me to get through that.
Yeah.
So I just want to, I'm gonna talk to him all the time. He
All
always
the
sick of me.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'd be sick of you. I know my daughter, she be going off on me in her head. I could see it in her eyes. I'm like, I'm just telling you this because I love you, but I don't mean to be. But she's sweet. Shout out to London. Hey, girl. Yeah. But all right, let's get into some music.
Okay.
We've been talking a lot about a lot of things. And I love it. But you are here because I met you through the music. Have you ever been compared to anybody?
Yes.
Who?
Oh man.
I've been trying to put my finger on it, but I feel like I haven't been able to compare you to anybody.
Honestly, I would like to keep it that way.
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's just say
But-
there's a couple of rappers that definitely that I get compared to all of the time, just for the simple fact that I'm black and I rap really well.
Okay.
You could probably like put a few names to that.
Do people ever say like Kendrick?
Yes, that's
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking too.
That's funny.
You know, it's funny. Like Kendrick and I have a very similar like but we have a lot of the same inspirations. But I've been rapping similarly to how I've been rapping since I started, before I ever heard of Kendrick. So like, yeah, some of like we do have like some similar flows and stuff sometimes, but it's like, I think that's where the comparison stops. Like, I don't know. I feel like if I got the opportunity to work with Dr. Dre, like if I had the same like trajectory that he had,
Yeah.
it would still be totally different because we're not alike in that like way.
Right. Yeah. Only reason I said that is because, not that I would compare you to him. I think you're
It's okay
very
too,
different.
though.
Yeah.
Kendrick's
I mean,
like-
he's
one of the
great.
goats.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't hate the comparison. It's just I don't want to. I don't ever want to be like misconstrued as like a clone. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like, you know how people act like every single white rapper that can rap comes out as an Eminem clone? I'm not trying to be that for Kendrick.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't see that, but he's definitely someone worthy to be compared to. Just like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
women,
He's
like
the best right now.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, women, like if you're compared to Beyonce, that's not a bad thing. It's not a terrible thing. She's a great entertainer, but. Well, some people don't think so, but I
Yeah.
think she's she works hard.
No, she
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
like I'm actually like a genuine Beyonce fan.
Oh, you like her?
Like, I listen to Beyonce.
Me
like,
too.
I bump Beyonce.
She's bomb. Even her
Yeah.
last album, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, this
I
probably
didn't bump that as much because
Yeah.
that's not like the realm that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
But I still definitely appreciated it because it's like it's just so culture. If you grew up in Jersey, you grew up in Newark, so I know you know about house music. Like,
oh yeah.
yeah. So it was very reminiscent of that.
It was, yeah. I heard this. I was like, oh, I like this. I was playing it, played it for my mom. My mom ended up buying me like the vinyl record. Yeah.
Did she buy you the tickets?
No, she didn't buy me the tickets. She didn't go that far. Dang it.
What's your favorite track
Don't
on
remind me. It's not actually not one of like the housey, like ball dance, you know. It wasn't one of those. It's Plastic Off the Sofa.
Isn't that 'Cause I like it, baby?
Yep.
Yeah,
That one.
that's a really good track.
Don't make me start singing. I always like,
Can you
what
do
was
the
it
run?
like? Yeah. Hold
The-
up. Where my phone at?
Oh,
Sing
shit.
that.
Oh.
I would. But yeah, that's the one. But you know, be
That
yourself
is such a good
around
record.
me. Yourself. I would play that over and over and over again. My daughter's like, "Oh my God, can you stop?" It's like, this is a good song. It's
I
like
really
musically
like the
good.
arrangements on the album because it's not just like regular songs like verse hook. Like there's like 2 or 3 bridges on like every song.
It's good.
I love
Virgo's
it.
groove is really good too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the songs they like go into each other.
Yeah.
You like stuff like that?
Dude, like my first album, I mean not first, my second album, I forgot that I'm not calling them albums anymore.
What are they?
My second project
Project. Okay.
is Trust the Weird Kids, and not only did I sequence the track list in a way that makes a sentence, I also did the same thing that Beyonce did before Beyonce.
He did it before Beyonce. Let the record
I
show.
didn't do it as great as Beyonce, so.
Who knows? Like, because I feel like sometimes I'll have like weird instances with people that probably should never be on my page because I don't even have like a big following, right? They'll like something. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? What are you doing? So imagine what she sees and how
Yeah.
she's influenced. You know what I mean? You never know who's watching.
Beyonce definitely is in tune with everything. I feel like she don't
Yeah.
spend her time scrolling on social media, but I'm sure that she has a small circle of friends
Yeah.
with a group chat that filters everything that's like.
I'm sure.
Good, yeah.
I know even alone with her publicist, I can't wait to meet her. What's her name? Yvette
I have
Noel
not
Shore.
met her.
She's been her publicist like for years, like a couple decades. Yeah, and she's magic. Like Beyonce's Beyonce.
Kind of like the bodyguard. Who's
Yeah.
her cousin. I forgot his name.
I don't know his
Julius.
name. Oh yeah, that is.
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
right,
See,
people
I'm a
made jokes
Beyonce
about
fan.
him.
Like, I'm
I
in the
see.
Beehive, like.
Oh wow, yeah, we could really get along. Yeah, I definitely love her. But yeah, so yeah, but it's good stuff. So pretty much, you inspired Beyonce. You've been inspiring her since your second project, so that's really dope. Let's talk
Yes, they're
about-
gonna cut everything else that we said prior to this and just keep that.
Yeah, exactly. But you have a project coming out soon?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm in the midst of releasing it, but also we're revamping everything. I'm in the process of working with. I mean, I don't want to say the name yet until the contracts are signed.
Okay.
But working with a company who I trust to put my project in the hands of, who's making a marketing budget available for this project and whatever I do next for a bit. So we're gonna roll it out much better.
Yeah.
I'm still an independent artist, but I'm finally gonna be able to push the vision out there the way that I really want to.
You're gonna have the backing for it,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, because
yeah.
you already have the mind, you have the plan, but you'll have like the muscle
Yeah.
behind it. Oh, it's
Now,
gonna
my mom's
be
a little
dope.
crazy sometimes.
Your mom?
But she definitely said I could be better than Kanye if I had his money. I don't know. Who knows?
Honestly,
But
okay.
my mom's intuition's pretty, But
Yeah.
she's,
Nah. Those are the ones, though.
yeah.
Those are the ones. People think you're crazy until it really happens. They're like,
Yeah.
wow, you're a genius, So, I don't know. I would say, yeah, I mean, I feel like Kanye is Kanye.
Yeah,
right?
no, he can't be
Super,
replaced, and he paved the way.
Yeah, I also think that his like genius and him putting himself out there and taking those risks and being so Kanye
Yeah.
has also been his downfall.
I don't know if that's been. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like Kanye is Kanye and has made him who he is, but also
I don't like the. I just maybe it's because he's just another black man, and I want to see him win. But I wouldn't say downfall. I just feel like it's like he has missteps.
missteps. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a better because Kanye will always be like Kanye's a
Yeah.
legend. He's a GOAT.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say downfall. It's not like but it's definitely been missteps because of who he is. So, yeah. But he's definitely awesome.
I just wish he had a way to, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say about Kanye, but I wish he had a way to truly articulate what he means without any antics or anything like that. Or sometimes I feel like he just says things and it's just like, not everybody's on the same wavelength as you and is gonna understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the delivery. It's
Yeah,
not what you're
yeah.
saying, is how you're saying it, is
Yeah.
how you're choosing to
But that can
articulate.
get frustrating though, because I know as somebody who always does speak his mind,
Yeah.
when it's not received in the right way,
Yeah.
I be feeling like it's not my fault you didn't receive it the right way.
Oh.
So I get that irresponsibility.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like, I'm unapologetic. This is my thoughts.
Yeah.
This is my opinions. I actually had a situation with somebody recently because I could be sensitive right? But also I could be logical as well. But for people,
So you're
especially.
human. So you're human.
Yeah, for sure. But some people, they just like me, I would say things in a way to someone, even if it's like true, I will find a way to say it so it's not like super offensive or it's gonna hurt you or it's gonna make you like hate me, you know? And some people just don't care. Yeah, I know that's right. Pour up the up.
Oh, right? We balling tonight, baby.
Balling. Almost done. Done the whole. It's like, nah. Yeah, but it matters. It definitely matters how you say things. So we talked about people, maybe they compare you to certain people. Who's people that influence you or that you know, get inspired
Before we
by?
move on to that,
Yeah,
because
let's
I forgot
talk.
that's what we were talking about.
What?
I guarantee anybody who does have somebody to compare me to right now, you give it about 2 or 3 years, and I feel like that comparison is going to be so far fetched because I'll be able to really actualize the things that I've been planning for years. And with the question you just asked, I would say Lupe Fiasco. Lupe Fiasco paved the way for like the opposite end of the spectrum of like super thugs. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's okay to be smart, you know, kind of energy.
Right.
Common, cause that man, oh man, does he know how to make a really good, concise album? And lyrically, he's just really, really uneffable.
Yeah. I didn't
Eminem-
expect you to say Lupe.
Really.
Not that it's like far fetched, but that wasn't even in my mind. Of course, it won't be in my mind.
It
It's
won't
your
be in a lot of
influence,
people's
right?
mind. Yeah,
That's
like
what I'm saying. He's dope though.
yeah, he doesn't get the credit he deserves. And the funny thing about it to me is that Lupe was Kendrick before Kendrick, but doesn't get the credit for it because he had, you know, issues with people in the industry and got blackballed and always has something to say. Like when he called Obama a terrorist,
Oh yeah.
which is like, oh, that's the worst thing in the world. But it's just like, I mean, if you look at what's happening in the Middle East right now with the drone strikes and how many people died, it's like, well, what do you think that they call it?
Right.
I love Obama though, but
Yeah.
every president has made some mistakes.
Yeah. And how much they're president, but it's a lot of things that go on.
Oh yeah, so
behind
many
the
moving parts.
scenes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I think it definitely takes that a little bit of that radicalism to call it out to get people talking at least. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
Instead of
Yeah.
just standing by and saying nothing.
That's true. Yeah. All right. So Lupe,
Mhm.
Common, and you
Eminem.
said- Eminem.
Because it's undeniable. He's just really like one of the greatest rappers of all time. He has paved the way for a style of rap that a lot of people consider corny, but the fact is, it's only corny now because people are taking all of the flavor and swag out of it. Eminem, he was a swaggy white boy when he first started. And I mean, he still is in his own right, but like, he was still hip hop.
He
It
was.
felt very, very culture. And everybody who's trying to mimic that style is like, it's like watching somebody cook fried chicken
Yeah.
and watch them put the ingredients in, and then you're trying to measure the ingredients, and it's like, no, you gotta like practice and take the time on it and know how to really do that.
Do it by the eye.
Yeah.
Like feel it. Feel when you're supposed to
Yeah,
stop.
you can't just be like, oh, I gotta follow it straight by the book, otherwise you're gonna have some bland ass chicken, as in their music.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, Lupe, Common,
And
Eminem.
I'll have two last ones.
Okay, yeah.
Big Daddy Kane.
Really?
Yes, I seen him perform once when I was about, I think like 15, and it changed my life because to see a man at his age, I mean, even at that time, and I heard he still get down like this, dancing, like really like dancing and like not missing a step, and also rapping his ass off, is like insane to me, and it made me like research him, and it's like, yo, that's the effect that I want to have on people when I perform.
Oh yeah.
I want to perform so well and be so amazing at what I do that somebody who's never, I mean, I heard about Big Daddy Kane, but somebody who didn't do the proper research says, I need to go home and study this person. And the last one would be Big Pun.
Big
I feel
Pun.
like there has not been an MC as raw as him in forever. Except his son, Chris Rivers.
Really?
Yeah, his son Chris Rivers, like, Chris Rivers is so much more than Big Pun's son, and he makes so much grander music, in my opinion. But as far as like really like rapping,
Yeah.
Chris got it.
Wow, yeah. I don't even think I'm familiar with like his son, so I gotta get into
familiar.
it.
He's
I
actually
am.
on one of my tracks from like 3 or 4 years ago, the OMG remix.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. I gotta definitely like get into his music. For you to say something like that, that's like a big deal. So if you could choose to collab with any of those 5 that you
Lupe.
said, Lupe?
Actually,
I can see
didn't
that.
say this person, but right now I would really like to work with Tyler the Creator.
Okay.
And that's not to replace Lupe. I would still choose Lupe first.
Why
Because,
Tyler?
You know, Tyler, he's very different, and I really want to study his process, and also be able to like talk music. It's really like I would like. It's gonna sound wild because I never met the guy, but I
Yeah.
would like a friendship with him. Like I would like to
A friendship
to-
you could see yourself like.
Yeah, just talking music for hours with him because I feel like he would leave me feeling really inspired.
I could see that. I could definitely see that. He's like a really cool creative as well.
Another black person that's showing black kids like there's so many ways to be a black man. I love people like that. Not playing into every single stereotype. Like the kids need that.
Yeah, they really do. They really, really, really do. So, okay, so this is something that I'm really curious about because I think you make really awesome music.
Thank you.
I want to know how involved are you in your process of making the music? Like, do you produce all of it? I've seen you do something online, but are you like really, really into producing?
I'm super hands-on.
Yeah.
Even this project that that's being released right now, The Internet is a Terrible Place, with Trupa, who produced the entirety of it. You can ask him. I've been very hands-on throughout the process. I always ask for the stems. I mix it to my liking. And every once in a while, I'm like, oh, this is good, but we got to replace this or move
Yeah.
this part over here. Like, super hands-on. Even when I'm not beat making, I'm still producing.
Yeah, it's good. The Internet is a Terrible Place. That's going to be a good one. What's your favorite track off of it? I know if you don't want to say the names.
No.
I know you
That's a hard
released the
question.
track list, but
That's just a hard question for me.
okay.
I think Forgive You for me. And that was supposed to be the next track that I was releasing because I was doing it weekly.
Yeah.
But once again, trying to shift all of the rights over to the label.
Yeah.
Not label, but the distribution company.
There we go.
And that song is just so powerful for me, and the message that I have behind it, it's different. I have a music video idea for it that I feel like is going to really touch a lot of people. Is it sonically my greatest song? I personally don't feel like that.
No.
But I feel like the message is so strong, and it was from me when I'm on most bruised and rawest moments.
Wow.
That I think the feeling is going to overpower anything that anyone can say about the sonics of the song.
Yeah, so it's personal. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, all songs are personal, right?
Yeah.
You writing all your songs. Who is it about?
I don't want to talk about who it's about because
Okay.
I would like it to be very. I don't want people to think about me when they're listening to the song because I know that everybody has somebody in their life that they feel this way about,
Okay.
or has had an experience that they feel this way about.
So you just want people to hear it and be able to relate to it however
Yeah.
they choose or, feel. Yeah, that's fair. I can't wait for it.
Thank you.
You have a single out now, Get Out the Way.
Yes, I mean I have so much.
Okay.
Like
so,
every song on the project is pretty much like a single
yeah.
because I was releasing one song a week at that point. But
Right.
the single is whatever people gravitate towards more right now. Yeah, I shot a video for Get Out the Way, but truth be told, it was just some like Italian kids that was like, "Yo, we're coming into America for the first time in New
Yeah.
York. You're from New Jersey, right? It's right next to New York, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Okay, we want to shoot a video for you." And I didn't know anything about these people. I seen a couple of their videos.
Okay.
And I felt like the only video style that they have, the style that they have can only match one song on the project.
Okay.
And it was that song. So it was like, all right, that just ended up happening that way.
So, yeah, that's dope. You're internationally known. There's like, yo, we pulling up. Pulling up to the United States of America.
Hey, I'm not internationally known, but I'm known to rock the microphone.
Oh, all right. That's what, yeah.
Did you get that
I figured. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Of course I did. I was just.
I had to see. I thought I was talking to my therapist. My bad.
I was playing off like, of course you are. Of course you're internationally known to rock the microphone. Because, oh, dude, this ain't.
Yeah.
All right, see? Smile. Why you got me acting goofy? You bringing out like the goofiness,
That's
but it's
not me
okay.
doing that.
Oh, no. Yeah. But that's cool. So I always ask my guests to drop a jewel. I'm Jalen Jewel, and I think you've had like a really cool journey. I think you're amazingly talented, and there's a lot of people that look up to you or, you know, listen to your music and they're inspired and motivated. So drop a jewel for those people who are watching.
I know you want to desperately be there for everybody and be helpful to everybody, and you get gratification through that. But remember that you can't help anybody if you can't help yourself. So prioritize yourself, prioritize your feelings, and remember that anybody who judges you or doesn't want to be around you for that isn't worth keeping around.
That's a good one. Boom. That's a really great jewel. Yeah, so, okay. So where can they find you?
Everywhere, just at Samad Savage, SAMADSAVAGE. But most importantly, make sure to go to my website, samadsavage.com, and click subscribe so you can be part of the emailing list and get all the updates. Don't worry, I won't email you more than once a week. Yeah.
That's good. All right, well, here you have it, Samad Savage, the dopest, you know, the coolest, the most creative, you know, and you came on the Jewel Effect.
That's my new thing, because I don't know how to accept compliments, so now I just go like,
all right, that's something we're gonna need to iron out, you know, in therapy. For real, that's rough though. Yeah, cause like me, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever take? And this is, you know, real quick. Do you ever take breaks from social media? I know it's hard
I
as an
just
artist.
did.
You did? Okay.
But it only lasted a day because it's like, that's the difficult part about being an independent artist, and that's the reason why I'm actually really happy to make that transition into working with other companies.
Yeah.
When you're doing everything, you kind of don't have the option to take breaks.
Exactly.
So, yeah. But prioritize yourselves.
That's right. Put yourself first. Make sure you're doing your thing. But this is Jalen Jewel and Samad Savage on The Jewel Effect. Another episode. Let's go.
School with it.
Yay.
School with it. It's your boy Samad Savage, and I need you to know that you're watching The Jewel Effect. So stay tuned.